PC Optimum Mastercards powered by EQ Bank. The best ways to use points and miles for all-inclusive vacations, and Air Miles Shop to Block is back. All this and more on Rewards Canada's This Week in Rewards for December 5th, 2025. If you're looking to make the most of your loyalty programs and credit card rewards, you've come to the right place. This is your weekly dose of loyalty, travel, and credit card happenings from Canada's original and leading points and miles resource, Rewards Canada. I'm your host, Patrick, and we'll kick things off with credit cards. So the big news this week in credit cards is the announcement of an acquisition. EQ Bank has announced that they're going to acquire PC Financial from Loblaw. So PC Financial, which is the financial side of Loblaw and PC Optimum and all their grocery stores, EQ Bank will be buying that. Subject to approval, of course. I don't see why it shouldn't be approved. If RBC can be approved to buy HSBC, EQ Bank should be allowed to buy PC Financial. So basically there's very little that we know right now. It's very early on. We know some little bit of details, but pretty much everything you're finding online right now is kind of speculation as to what will be happening with this acquisition by EQ Bank. So what we do know is that the PC Optimum program is not part of this acquisition. That remains under Loblaw's control. So that will not be part of this move. It is just the financial portfolio that's moving over. So credit cards, banking, everything that PC Financial was doing, including their in-store branches that they have across Canada, ATMs, things like that. That is all going to be moving over to EQ Bank once this is approved. So some of the questions that are starting to arise from this already is like, well, what about the PC Optimum credit cards? What's going to happen to them? Most likely they're just going to stay because the press release does say that EQ Bank will be the exclusive financial partner of the PC Optimum program. So what we're most likely going to see are EQ Bank credit cards that offer PC Optimum points. They will probably be called PC Optimum by EQ Bank, or maybe they'll go the Brim kind of neo route and say PC Optimum Mastercard powered by EQ Bank or something like that. Who knows? Just speculation again on names, and most likely it will operate like any other co-brand partnership we have in the market. Like with TD, CIBC, Amex with Aeroplan, WestJet with RBC, Marriott with Amex. And what that means is that EQ Bank will be buying the points from PC Optimum. There was also some speculation, well, how is it going to work? Are they just going to issue the points and, they'll be one big happy family? But I doubt that's the case because that's not going to look good towards the shareholders of Loblaw or, potential investors. By being able to sell points to EQ Bank, that looks good. I mean, the PC Optimum program is something that Loblaw Corporation relies on heavily. They pitch it all the time to their investors. They pitch it all the time to their shareholders. They're always talking about we have this many millions of active members. They use it as leverage. And if they're not earning money on those points that are being issued by EQ Bank in some form or another, then there's no point in this. So obviously, I almost 100% positive this is going to be a co-brand partnership where EQ Bank will be paying Loblaw for the PC Optimum points they are issuing on these cards. And then there's also, some questions are arising. Well, are there going to be any improvements to the cards, changes to the cards from EQ Bank? Just in my knowledge of the industry over so many years, I doubt it. I don't think we'll see anything since there's over 2 million PC Financial credit card holders. I wouldn't expect EQ Bank to improve the cards. They don't have to. That is one of the largest credit card portfolios in Canada. They don't need to give away more with that big a portfolio. What they may improve upon is like the app experience, the digital experience, online banking, those type of things. They'll bring EQ Bank's knowledge to that and improve upon that to make the whole customer service aspect of using PC Financial or whatever they're going to be called, PC Optimum credit cards, make them easier. And then EQ, of course, they're gaining this huge credit card portfolio, which will make it easier for them now to pitch over 2 million clients on their GICs, RRSPs, TFSAs, everything that EQ Bank offers. So, there is definitely synergies in them doing this. It just creates more of a diverse banking ecosystem for EQ Bank because they actually don't issue credit cards. They do have their prepaid EQ Bank card, but they don't issue true credit cards, and now they will. So hopefully that will mean that perhaps in the future EQ Bank will also release their own proprietary rewards credit cards under the EQ Bank banner because they'll have all the systems in place operating from PC Financial that they brought over. So it should potentially make it easier for EQ Bank to start issuing their own credit cards over and above the PC Optimum credit cards as well. But really, that's all I can tell you right now. Like I said, there isn't a ton of news in terms of how it affects points, miles, in the credit card world. This is just something we're going to have to stay tuned for. They're expecting this to close in 2026. So of course, as that comes along and we get more news, we'll be sure to pass it along right here on This Week in Rewards and on the Rewards Canada website. And the only other credit card details this week that I can pass along is that we posted our monthly look at the best welcome bonus offers for travel, cashback, and small business. Here's the thing, they didn't change from last month, or at least no significant changes in the top 5 in all of them. So all I'll do is I'll link to last month's video. You can check it out here if you're on the hunt for some cards with some excellent welcome bonuses. Plus I'll put the links to all those articles in the description below so you can check out the best travel, cashback, and small business card offers. So that takes us into loyalty and travel news. And the big thing on Rewards Canada for loyalty this week is I updated our ultimate guide to using points and miles for all-inclusive vacations. So this has been like kind of a long-standing popular guide on our website. I think it first launched in 2019, so it's now 6 years old. And it had a few updates for this year. With it, you can see how you can best utilize points and miles and other loyalty currencies for all-inclusive vacations, because a lot of the loyalty programs and credit cards actually don't do a good job of letting people know you can use them for all-inclusive vacations. It's always talking about flights. You look at Avion, Aeroplan. So many of these programs, they talk about flights and to a lesser extent hotels. But how often do you actually see them advertising about using those points and miles for all-inclusive vacation? You don't really, at least I haven't. In 25 years of covering loyalty programs, I've very rarely seen them talk about all-inclusive vacations. But the fact of the matter is you can use them and it can be valuable. So, if you've been somebody who's watched Rewards Canada for a little while or followed our website for, some time, you'll have all the usual suspects here for all-inclusive vacations in terms of credit cards. That's like your American Express Cobalt card, Scotiabank Gold American Express card, MBNA Rewards World Elite, TD First Class Visa Infinite, and others, because those are the flexible travel cards that you can use towards any travel at any time. So you can book an all-inclusive vacation. Doesn't matter who you book it with. You can go to Red Tag, iTravel 2000, Expedia, or through the credit card themselves, like their travel agencies like Expedia for Scene Plus and things like that, or Expedia for TD. You can use all those to book all-inclusive vacation packages as well. And things like the Cobalt card, it's a 1 to 5% return. Yeah, some people are going to say, well, you can get more converting to aeroplan and doing all that stuff. But you have to look at the bigger picture here. 1 to 5% return for an all-inclusive vacation. That's better than most credit cards in Canada. Yes, you can get more value converting to the airline programs, but that starts dwindling down in terms of the utility for people who actually use that. Those are more the points and miles enthusiasts, our community of people who try to maximize value. But for a lot of Canadians, you have to remember that 90% of us are redeeming for only economy class travel and only economy class travel within North America or to select sun destinations, which some of these would be the all-inclusive ones. So it can be very valuable redeeming, your points at, 1 cent per point, getting your 1 to 5% returns, or like the Scotia Gold Amex, 1 to 6% returns on your spending and using them towards all-inclusive vacations. In the guide, we also talk about which loyalty programs you can use to book all-inclusive vacation packages. And I'm using package as a term because the next thing I'm going to talk about doesn't include the word package. So something like Air Canada Aeroplan, you can use Aeroplan points to book vacation packages via Air Canada Vacations, and that includes all-inclusive packages. The redemption rate is 1,000 points to $10. So that's only 1 cent per point. Again, we're going to have people saying, well, you can get 1.5, 2 cents. I mean, I value Aeroplan points at 1.5 cents per point. Some go 2 cents, some go higher. And yeah, absolutely, you can get more value for them. But for a lot of people, that 1 cent per point is totally fine. As long as you're redeeming for something that you want to redeem for, and that's an all-inclusive vacation, then by all means, you can do it. Because there are Aeroplan flight redemptions that come below 1 cent per point. I have people emailing me probably once or twice a month saying, I am finding 0.7, 0.8 cents, for economy class redemptions. It's like, well, you can do an all-inclusive for 1 cent per point. It's at least a guaranteed value for Aeroplan. No getting stuck with a lower valuation, but you're also potentially losing out on the higher, which I will touch upon in the next little part for this guide of using points and miles for all-inclusive vacations. Of course, you can use WestJet rewards points for WestJet or Sunwing vacations. Those are options there. Then you have programs like More Rewards, a shopping program, a grocery store program, and other partners as well. And of course, they have the More Rewards Visa now with RBC as well. you can redeem for vacation packages through them as well. It's powered by Expedia. A lot of them are powered by Expedia. So the one thing you have to note with all the Expedia ones is you cannot book all-inclusive vacations to Cuba because Expedia is US based and they are not allowed to sell travel to Cuba. So just be aware of that, so that you can't do that with the programs. But all other all-inclusives, Dominican, Mexico, you name it, you can book through More Rewards, Expedia for TD, things like that. But there's also some unknown programs in terms of travel, or not so well known. And the big one here is petrol points. Yeah, you can redeem your petrol points for vacation packages via iTravel 2000. So there's another option for you, and it can be partial redemption as well. So you can pay part cash, pay part petrol points. A lot of these allow you to do that, like More Rewards does, Air Canada Vacations, Aeroplan points, WestJet, all of them. You don't have to have the full amount of points. So that's where that also comes into play, is if you're someone, say, who will not collect enough Aeroplan points to get an awesome value business class flight to Europe or to Asia or something, you may be better off just using it here, using some points to discount your vacation. Or on the other hand, like I've said for so many years, you have more points than you know what to do with. You know, if you are earning so many Aeroplan points, so many WestJet Rewards points or other program points, and you don't know what to do with them, save some cash, use them for an all-inclusive vacation. That works too. So there's so many different options you can use for these points. Now I'll get to this last section that I was referring to with some of these other programs, and that's building your own all-inclusive vacation. And this is where I dropped the word package, because when you build your own vacation, it's about using something like Aeroplan points for the flight. So you redeem for an Air Canada flight, and you can get the 1.5 cents per point or 2 cents per point or even higher. Maybe you're redeeming for business class flight to somewhere in the Caribbean or Mexico or something like that. So there's that option. So you use a program like Aeroplan, WestJet Reward to book your flights. You can even use all those credit card programs at the start that I talked about, membership rewards, Scene Plus, book flights, do them separately. And this plays nicely into hotel loyalty programs, most notably Marriott Bonvoy. Because with Marriott Bonvoy, they have a credit card in Canada, well too, they have the consumer and business card, and Marriott Bonvoy has expanded their all-inclusive resort locations. They have over 30 locations that you can redeem your Marriott Bonvoy points for, and of course, if you redeem for at least 5 nights, you get 1 night free. The cheapest night of points, they deduct that from your total. So say you go for 10 nights, you're paying for 8 nights. So that's something you can take, advantage of with, say, Marriott Bonvoy, especially if you have the Marriott Bonvoy card, or if you're running membership rewards, American Express Cobalt card, that's earning 5 points per dollar. That's 6 Marriott Rewards points per dollar. That's, pretty big towards one of these all-inclusive resorts. So you can use an airline program or a credit card program, whatever, for the flight, pay cash for the flight, and then use your hotel points for the actual all-inclusive resort. But here's where I dropped the word package, because you're booking those separately. You're booking a flight separate from the hotel. You may not get the airport transfers that are typically included with an all-inclusive package that you buy directly with Air Canada Vacations, Sunwing, iTravel 2000, all those places. They usually have a full package deal for you that includes airport transfers. So you may not get that unless the all-inclusive resort you're booking includes that as part of their stay without flight. So you might get it, but just be aware you might be, doing your own transportation between the airport and the resort. And the other thing you may lose out on, or you will lose out on, is typically those vacation providers like Sunwing, WestJet, Air Canada. They have representatives, local representatives that can help you out with your stay. If an issue arises with the resort, you won't get that by booking, these things separately. So just some things to be aware of when you are using points and miles to build your own all-inclusive vacation. There's a link in the description below so that you can check out the whole feature. Talks about all the different programs, tells you, some tips, how much the credit cards earn, what kind of rates you can get for redeeming for that travel. There's lots to it, so check it out. The link is in the description below. Next up in loyalty, we're going to talk about some Christmas Grinches. Yeah, there's been some Grinch action happening this holiday season from airline loyalty programs. The first one is British Airways Club. So they are putting a devaluation in place on their redemptions as of December 15th. The amount of Avios you're going to need to redeem for flights is increasing, and so is the fees and taxes copay as well are increasing. So like I said, this is happening as of December 15th. Now, it's not a huge increase. Across the board, it's about 10% in the Avios, and then the fees can be 10 to 20. So, it's decent. It's still a pretty big devaluation, but it's not some like huge ones like the next one I'm going to talk about. But still significant enough that, you have to call it devaluation. You're spending more Avios, you're spending more money. It's nothing else than a devaluation. British Airways, we gave them a little bit of love for actually saying, yeah, we are increasing prices. They didn't use that dreaded term that loyalty programs like to use, which is enhancements. It's so sad that, the word enhancement has been destroyed by the loyalty industry. They use that word all the time when they make things worse. But in this case, British Airways was straight up in their email saying we are increasing rates. And they gave reasons why, increased costs, increased passenger duty fees, things like that. Just all these things are increasing, inflation, you name it. So they were just straight up. So kudos to British Airways for doing that, but still not kudos for devaluing, the program, what we've been used to. So they gave some examples. None of the examples showed Canadian destinations, but they did show London to New York. And typically that is the same redemption as, say, Toronto or Montreal to London. And so that jumps from like 50,000 Avios to 55,000 for a round trip ticket in economy class. And that's the reward saver fare. And the fees jumped up by 20% on that, from like £100 to £120 if you're flying out of London. So if that's jumping 20%. I'm assuming in Canada they will as well. So in Canada, a reward saver fare was 50,000 Avios and $200. So my assumption, we don't know this yet, it's going to be 55,000 Avios and 240 based on everything else jumping up 20% for the fees. So, still decent. It's still a decent redemption option at 55,000 Avios and $240. You can't really complain too much about it, but we can complain because it's worse than before, if you get what I mean. So there's also no word on non-reward saver pricing. So, you can technically redeem only 26,000 Avios for an off-peak reward flight between Toronto and London. Lots of fees, of course, on top of that one. So I'm assuming that's going to bump up 10% because they say it affects all British Airways flights. So maybe it'll be 28,600. We'll have to wait till December 15th. Once these are loaded, we'll probably have another post then cover all of the changes so we can actually see, if those 26,000 Avios are being bumped up. And that, of course, brings us to that famous one that we talk about a lot. And that's the 26,000 Avios for Aer Lingus flights between Toronto and Dublin. There's some confusion here. The landing page that announces all these changes, the first line says these affect British Airways flights and partner airlines. But then you go to the FAQs and it says this only affects British Airways operated flights. So I'm not sure if Aer Lingus, the 26,000 Avios for that, will be bumped up or not. We'll have to wait till December 15th, unless British Airways goes and corrects this, but they haven't corrected it yet. I double checked before recording this to see if they had corrected their FAQs or that page. So there is still kind of that discrepancy on their page as to whether this is across the board for British Airways and partner flights or just British Airways flights. As soon as we find out, stay tuned to the Rewards Canada website. We'll post it on there, or I'll cover it once we know on December 15th and start doing some reward searches and see if that Aer Lingus Toronto to Dublin flight has been affected by these changes or not. So the other Christmas Grinch, this one's even worse, is from Turkish Airlines. So Turkish Airlines Miles&Smiles, they have devalued their Star Alliance award flights for domestic flights. So by domestic, they mean within the home country of the Star Alliance airline. So that would be something like Air Canada within Canada. But the news that's really generating a lot of the uproar is for United Airlines within the US, because those have always been a steal of a deal. They were like that sweet spot in Turkish Airlines Miles&Smiles. Like you could fly from the continental US to Hawaii for only 10,000 miles economy, 15,000 one way. So it's just amazing deal with the Miles&Smiles program. Those have now been bumped up to 25,000 miles and 40,000 miles for business. So 25 economy, 40 for business. So well over 160% increase on some of those.
What did you say, Flintstone?
Massive devaluation there. The flights within, like just staying within continental US, those are seeing a 50% increase. They go from 10,000 to 15 for economy, and then 15,000 to 22,500 for business. So again, 50% increase. 15,000 miles, that doesn't sound too bad. That's actually in line with a lot of other programs. But still, when you've been paying 10,000 before that, another crazy devaluation, and no advance notice from Turkish Airlines. They just did this. There's your other loyalty program Grinch for 2025. All right, so let's get into some happier, better loyalty program news. So we have Air France KLM's Flying Blue promo rewards for this month. There's only one Canadian city this month, and that is Ottawa, where you can fly economy class from Ottawa on Air France to Europe, North Africa, and Turkey. The 25% off means you can redeem as little as 18,750 miles one way. There's some examples on the screen of some of the routes that I did find this low amount on. Again, like we always say at the start of each month when we cover this in our videos, these are great deals. You know, it's a great deal if you have Flying Blue miles. It's an excellent deal too if you have AmeriExpress membership rewards points, even when you convert at one membership rewards point to only 0.75 Flying Blue miles. You know, for something like a round trip economy class flight between Ottawa and Paris, you are looking at 50,000 membership rewards points, because that gets you the 37,500 Flying Blue miles. So that's like $10,000 of spending on the AmeriExpress Cobalt card. Have fun trying to find a credit card in Canada that can give you a round trip flight to mainland Europe for that little amount of spending. You won't. And continue on. Here's another good deal, actually. So Flying Blue promo rewards is always a good deal. MyMcDonald's rewards has come out with a really good redemption option. This one actually really surprised me, and I'm happy they did this. They have partnered with Expedia. So right now you can redeem your MyMcDonald's rewards points for discounts with Expedia. So if you redeem 2,000 MyMcDonald's rewards points, you'll get a 5% discount for hotels or activities. You redeem 4,000 points, you'll get a 7% discount. These discounts can be used on any eligible hotel or activity that costs $210 Canadian before taxes and fees. So you redeem, basically what you do is you redeem the points, they're going to email you a code, and you make that booking by April 30th, 2026. So if you book right at that $210 amount, you're looking at a $10.50 discount with the 5% offer and a $14.70 discount with the 7% offer. Those same rewards in MyMcDonald's rewards, 2,000 points is roughly $2, maybe $3, depending on what you redeem on. And the 4,000 points, you're looking at $4 to $5 in value. So you're getting upwards of 3 times the value for your MyMcDonald's rewards points. And that's only if you're using that discount at $210. You book yourself a $1,000 hotel. Well, what is that? That's a $50 to $70 discount for that little amount of MyMcDonald's rewards points. And I believe you can redeem for that high of hotel or activities, because when I read the terms and conditions, I did not see a cap on price. It just had that minimum price of $210. So there is a really good potential to get some huge value out of a little amount of MyMcDonald's rewards points. I'd love to hear from any of you guys who are planning to use this. I don't have any planned bookings to do through Expedia, so I may hold off. I'd be curious to test it out, but I don't have anything right now planned. Maybe I'll try it, but if you are somebody who's planning an Expedia booking, maybe in the next few weeks, let us know if you've redeemed your MyMcDonald's rewards points to get that discount through Expedia. We'd love to hear how it worked out for you. And the last thing we'll look at loyalty is a bonus offer. We're not covering the bonus blast because this is more significant than that, and that is the return of Air Miles Shop to Block. Yeah, so this is that coveted bonus that all Air Miles collectors look for. Now it's being run, I believe, twice per year, because we did have a summer version. This is the winter version. This winter version kicks off December 8th and runs until December 22nd, where you can earn up to 775 bonus miles. So you do have to opt in for this offer first. It is already up on the Air Miles website and Air Miles app, so make sure you go right now and opt in so you don't forget. And then once you have opted in, if you shop at 3 partners, you're going to earn 100 bonus miles. Shop at 4 partners, you get 250 bonus miles. 5 or more partners, you get 775 bonus miles. So that's, again, some excellent bonuses from Shop to Block. This is actually exactly the same bonus levels that they had last year for the winter one. It's more miles than the summer version, but the summer version also only required 2 partners, whereas this one you require 3. So that's the trade-off. You have to shop a little bit more here, but you can get more miles in the end. Plus, if you use a BMO Air Miles Mastercard on one of the qualifying Shop to Block purchases, they'll throw in an additional 50 bonus miles for 825 bonus miles total. So the partners, eligible partners, are Air Miles in-store partners, so that's like Shell, PharmaSafe, places like that. Each one counts as one separately. Air Miles shops as well, excluding a couple things like online travel stores, Amazon Prime, and Loofah Farms. Those are excluded. Air Miles card-linked offers, and each actually merchant through card-linked offers or each merchant through Air Miles shops counts as a separate partner as well. So you can rack up a lot through those by themselves. Air Miles receipts counts as one partner, so you can only, you can submit multiple receipts, of course, but it will only count once towards Shop to Block. Air Miles travel, I believe as well, only one travel booking will count towards Shop the Block. And then redeeming cash miles or dream miles counts as one partner as well. So ideally, if you go to Shell, if you redeem and earn in the same transaction, that should count as two partners right there. I may do it separately just to be safe, because I do, if it works out, I'll use Shell and make it twice in that time, and then try and throw in a third partner in there to at least get to 100. I don't know if I'll push all the way up to 5 or more to get to 775. I usually don't make the effort these days anymore, but we'll see. You never know. Things may change between now and December 22nd, where I will rack up miles with more than 5 partners. It'd be nice to get that 775 into my account as well, especially now that they're going to combine balances as of January 2026. So that'll be awesome. And since that was a bonus, why don't we do the Rewards Canada Bonus Blast? So the Rewards Canada Bonus Blast is where we take a look at some of the more significant bonus offers we've added to the Rewards Canada website over the past week and give them a kind of a highlight spot. So the first one is 500 free Scene Plus points. So yeah, you can score yourself $5 worth of Scene Plus points for a very easy survey on the Scene Plus website. It's basically from Scotia Insurance. I think it was like 5 questions, if I recall now. It literally took me probably 1 minute to do. So $5 for that, 500 points. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start getting emails because it says you have to opt in for emails from Scotia Insurance. So they'll try and sell me some insurance, but whatever. It's 500 points, it's $5. I'm fine with that. I can just delete those emails when they come through. But yeah, so that's super easy. It has to be done by December 31st, and then the points will show up, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks, or is it maybe 6 to 8 weeks later, something like that. You have until December 31st to do it. Just log into your Scene Plus account and it should show up in offers. If it doesn't show up right on the first screen offers, click on Scotia Insurance and then it'll show up in there as well. So that's where you can find it too. So 500 free points, go and do it right now. Might as well score those $5. Absolutely, for travel, for groceries, you name it, anything to do with Scene Plus partners, it's $5. So, and the only other bonus we're going to look at this week, I mean, we added quite a few, but we're already getting quite long with the video here. So the other bonus we'll look at is a buy points bonus for Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. So they've come back with their bonus of up to 70% when you buy their Virgin points. This is available until December 31st, 2025. This is always a pretty decent offer to buy points with them, especially if you can find and score those 6,000 point saver awards between Toronto and London. That is like a huge deal for buying these points for. But there's even other deals. Even if you find a 10,000 point offer, or 12,000, I believe it was on the website. I give an example in the article showing, I think it was at 10 or 12,000 that you could buy points, and that's even just with a 20% bonus where it can save you a few $100s on your flight. So there's a lot of options there. And of course, if you find saver availability on business class, then it really makes sense and you can really score a good deal and save yourself on flying business class with Virgin Atlantic. So just know that offer is available. It's good until December 31st, 2025. And remember to always check the Rewards Canada bonus offers section before you book any travel, flights, hotels, car rentals, you name it. It's at rewardscanada.ca/bonuses.html. We are posting so many offers every week, that can help you earn more miles and earn more points. So many Canadians are missing out on those extra points and miles to get you those all-inclusive vacations, to get you those business class flights, to get you an iPad, you name it. If you take a little bit of effort, doesn't take a lot of time, just a few minutes a week, you can find those extra bonus offers and you'll be building up your balances faster for some excellent rewards. So make sure you do check out the bonus offer section before you do any sort of travel bookings. A quick reminder that you can find links to all of the topics covered in today's video and more in the description below. And if you like today's video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you don't do so yet, hit that notification bell so you're notified when we do post new videos, and be sure to share the video with friends, family, coworkers, anybody who you think will benefit from the topics we cover, and leave us a comment below if you have a question, need a clarification, or have a correction on something we got incorrect, or if you just want to say hi. We do our best to respond to all the comments made on our videos. And that's all she wrote for this week. Be sure to check out rewardscanada.ca and or our socials on a daily basis, because there are so many things we are posting that do not make it into this video, and there are sometimes short-term offers that do not make it into our weekly newsletter. But at the very least, you should be subscribing to that weekly newsletter, because it is your summary of everything to do with points, miles, credit cards. It comes out every Friday. And speaking of that, next Friday, December 12th, our 1000th issue is being sent out. The first issue was sent out in 2003, and now here in 2025, we're hitting issue 1000. That's right. So thank you everybody who has subscribed to the newsletter for 20 plus years, or even if it's just been a week, or if you just subscribe right now so that you can get that landmark 1000th issue next week in your inbox. And then on Saturdays, we have our Rewards Canada bonus bulletin newsletter that is sent out. That covers all of the bonus miles and points offers that we've posted to the website for that week. It is your summary of everything so that you can earn more miles and more points so that you can redeem for more rewards. Thank you everybody for tuning in this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.